Well, welcome to another demo video on Brando Consulting's YouTube channel. Today, our guest is Nathaniel Gingrich from Koble. We're happy to have him here. He's going to show us a demo of Koble. Nathaniel, what is your role there at Koble?
Yeah, well, thank you, Lance, for the invite and the opportunity to spend some time together here and look at the software. I have a title of Chief Partnership Officer, so that's a business development role that I carry. And then also have been very involved in product management related to the software. So the software we're going to be looking at today is called EBMS. I'm the EBMS product manager for this software as well.
And what does EDMS stand for?
Yeah, so this goes back to a time in our history where we were called Eagle Business Software, and this product was Eagle Business Management System. And then to keep everything confusing, we rebranded and we became Koble as a company, and we have the EBMS software.
Nice. So Koble is an ERP software, enterprise software, meaning it does everything, right? Inventory management and QuickBooks or excuse me, no, I said QuickBooks, I mean accounting, inventory management, accounting, and CRM and whatnot, right? Here at Brando Consulting, we focus mainly on inventory management for wholesale distributors and manufacturers and e-commerce people. I remember we talked at what was it? Scaling New Heights, I think.
We did, yes.
That's when we
Yeah.
were introduced to you, and you said, Lance, you need to include us in your considerations with your clients. And so, um, here we are. Here we are. So, what does Koble do? Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the software?
Sure. So I'm going to do a little intro related to our company and our focus, a little bit of our vision. Uh, but I just reference back to the ERP aspect of the software. And you see here, our goal is to partner with small businesses through ERP software. And while we are going to primarily focus on the inventory management side of this today, like you said, we include a whole lot more. And while a lot of ERPs are kind of mid-market, our goal is actually to serve the smaller business. And so as we approach the design of the software, we're thinking of the small business owner that wears many hats and they need to fluidly move through the software. They may not have 500 employees or 200 employees. They may only have 5 employees, working in the system. And so that's the business that we want to partner with, we want to serve, we want to bring not only the financial package, but then a lot of the operational tools that those small businesses are looking for. And as they grow, they need. So, yeah, I'm happy to
That,
kind of dive in now.
yeah, well, you kind of made me think of something else that I wanted to bring up. And one thing that kind of attracted us to you and you to us, I think, is we primarily work with small businesses. And typically, we wouldn't
Right.
really consider ERP because, in my experience, and ERP systems are usually made for companies that are probably around the $30 million a year mark. That size of
Hmm.
company that um, is a better fit for the NetSuites and the Acumaticas and the Microsoft Dynamics and the SAPs, these big, large ERPs. And what you told me is Cobol is actually priced well and a good fit for the small business owners. So they don't necessarily have to be up there. I think most of our customers are around the $10 million mark, doing about 10 million a year in
Right.
revenue, or anywhere
Hmm.
anywhere between 3 million to 30 million a year, right? Um,
That's right.
so that's one thing
Mhm.
that attracted us to you is you said, no, that's actually we are made for
That's awesome.
smaller
Yeah.
business.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll get into a little bit of that detail that, and that's our, very central to our value proposition is we're bridging that gap. There's a big need there, as you've discovered and built your business around providing great tooling, and this is another approach to that. So, yeah.
Oh,
So as a company, we're a small business, right? So we're a small business serving small businesses. We have right now, I think, between 70 and 80 employees. So we're not a large company, but we've been around for quite a few years. And what gets us excited is just simply helping organization and individuals flourish, right? So these small businesses that North America um, consists of, there's so many small businesses. We want to partner, and as we state here, we believe the right systems lead to better business, more productive teams, more thriving communities. It's small business that's really moving America and making a difference in small towns all over. So we want to be a part of that. We want to be a kind of the catalyst, if you will, in that to help small bring the right systems, build better business, more productive teams, and more thriving communities. So let's make business growth easier by putting ERP software to work in this environment. And we do this by listening to our clients, equipping people to do great work, and then creating exceptionally useful business software solutions as well. And you can see the size. We're 475 plus happy clients. We have over 500 businesses using our software. So we're not huge, we're not big, but we've been around now for over 30 years. We have a lot of great partnerships with these businesses.
I like to see that 93% implementation success. That's an impressive number, especially for the naysayers out there that say, "Oh no, implementation success for ERP is around 50%." I don't believe that. I think if it's done right, um, it'll be successful. If you choose the right software, get it set up right, and use it right, um, implementation will be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for calling that out because we're pleased with that number. There's implementations of ERP are difficult. We should just recognize that, and part of the discovery process that we go through is determining whether it's going to be a fit because we do want to partner. We don't want to sell you, a vacuum cleaner.
Right.
And so it's got to work. It's got to be a mutually beneficial relationship. We got to make sure it's going to be a successful one for the long haul. So
For sure. Yeah.
good. Yeah. So just a quick view of our values. We see others' needs as greater than our own. We want to leave things better than we found them, and we want to pursue excellence in everything we do. So it's our approach to business software and serving our clients is really around the best total solution. We're not the low cost provider. We're not the bleeding edge, cutting edge. We want to build and present and implement that best total solution that's really going to bring you the value, the ROI for your business. So that's as how we approach the solutions that we implement.
Right.
So this goes back to our earlier discussion on where we fit in small business, and I like to look at business software in 5 tiers. This just has helped me a lot. This was introduced to me years ago by someone, and it's been really helpful. And in the 5 tiers, we start at the bottom, tier 5. We have the startup, the owner operator, the individual that really just needs to keep track of those finances, that accounting, and so on. And often what we see in this space is that individual hires a bookkeeper, outsources it, and they do it likely in QuickBooks or Sage 50 or some other good product, and they are keeping track of their finances there. But as they grow, as they do well, they're hiring. And now, of course, they need to keep track of more. And so often that's around inventory or labor service. It might be job costing. It might be some manufacturing. And they're getting stretched and pulled in that way. And there's a ceiling that they're hitting in trying to manage all of that. And so then they're looking for tools to manage operations. Often that's going to be Excel. It's surprising, right? If it's not pen and paper, it's going to be Excel, or maybe it's some industry specific solution that advertises an integration back into the software to QuickBooks, to their financial package. And for a time that can work well. The bookkeeper's happy because they don't have to change their processes. They're in a good place. But often pretty soon you're starting to deal with frustrations. The bookkeeper saying, where did this number come from? There's a journal entry at the end of the day, and we want to drill down and figure out what's going on. And they can't do that because they've got to go into all this disparate various tools that operations is using. And so now what that small business does is, well, we got to bring this all together. And they go and they look, and you mentioned Acumatica, NetSuite, some of these great ERP solutions, and realize that maybe they're just not ready for that yet. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars in implementation cost. A lot has to be built out. And often you get into it and it just feels really disconnected because it's designed for folks who are not wearing so many hats, that are staying in certain areas of the software in their workflow and not moving through a lot of different ones. And so they just plow forward and keep pushing forward, but they've hit kind of another ceiling or another barrier. And so in this, our value proposition as a company is, we'll meet you here as you need those operational tools, the inventory management, supply chain, all of those things. And we'll provide not only the operational tools, but the center of all this, the hub of all this, is our financial package as well. And so we have good business management reporting. We, different divisions, departments, locations, P&Ls for different managers of each of those. And so we can provide that good financial package that all the operational data is flowing into. And so then as you grow, as a small business grows, you're going to be looking for more ways to really customize and build out. And that's the tier 3 then. And you are going to need those abilities to leverage your ERP software as a platform, build it out, become more efficient, build dashboards. Maybe there's apps, things like that need to be built out on top of it. And so EBMS, the software we're looking at today, will carry you through the tier 4, the tier 3, until you really get up into the upper mid-market and enterprise spaces. So that's that's really where we get excited. It's helping those small businesses as they experience those needs along operations. That's hopefully a good insight into our approach to business software. So a question we could ask here, what's the catalyst for growth for a business? And it's that need to break through those ceilings. It's that need to implement the operational tools, develop out the automations, have good reporting, good dashboards, business intelligence, and all of that in a software that is easy to use, intuitive, and as you bring folks on, they can quickly learn and grow with.
So how far can a company grow with your software? What's your largest customer?
Yeah, so you mentioned that 3 to 30. That's our sweet spot. We have clients that are larger than that. They are, and they're pushing the software. There's some more in the 50 and higher. But what we like to do is really start partnering at that $2, $3, $5 million place, and then grow. And if you're at it can carry you through that 30, 50, and even more. There's some that are even larger.
Now, you are an ERP software, and the most popular software that small business owners use is QuickBooks. Do you integrate with QuickBooks as an option, or just no option to integrate with QuickBooks, just fully move to Koble?
Yeah, good question, and one we get asked a lot. And the answer is we do not integrate with QuickBooks at this point. So
Okay.
um,
That's not a deal
our
breaker, but
client,
just curious.
yeah. So we do have some clients who do continue to use QuickBooks for their finances because they're familiar with it. There are some, there's nothing wrong with QuickBooks. It's a great tool in its place, and we'll, do a simple end of day report, and they'll manually enter that in to QuickBooks. But almost all of our clients are moving to our financial package.
Awesome.
Good.
Okay. Are there any other slides?
Uh, this is it. So
Okay.
we'd love to dive into more.
Yeah, let's take a look at the software. I think that's what sets our YouTube channel apart from maybe other YouTube channels, is we show the software on our channel.
Yeah.
Our videos have the demo videos and the tutorial videos. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at Koble.
Yeah, so let me transition here to one more click. Transition here to EBMS. So what's currently shared is our home screen landing page for EBMS, and this product is built on an older platform. This is an on-premise software, so you're gonna.
So I misspoke. I thought the software was called Koble. The software is called EBMS, and the company is called Koble.
Yes, and to
Okay.
make it even more confusing, next year, and we're in the process of rolling out right now, a cloud-based solution, which will be called Koble ERP. So I don't
Okay.
know how, but next year this time, we'll be demonstrating another product with its own set of strengths.
Well,
So that'll,
we'll look forward to that. Okay.
yeah.
Now, how long has this product been around?
Yeah, so the foundation of this product was laid back in the late 90s. So 1998 was the first time it saw the light of day. It has changed dramatically since then, but that was a replacement for a DOS-based product. So we've been in the ERP or business software world for a few years.
25 years. I like to point that out. Different people have different feelings about aged software. Software I call mature. Um, they think, oh, it's old, but old also comes with maturity. And I've been in this software industry for 17 years. I started as an employee of Fishbowl Inventory back in 2006. And I've got to see software grow, right? And there really is a life of software. And as it ages, more features are added, and not just more features, but also more debugging occurs. So it becomes more reliable software,
Mhm.
more robust software. So I look at 25-year-old software and I think that's awesome. And then I also think, okay, you're also building a product in the cloud. You've already learned everything about building software and what's great, what's not great, what people like, what people don't like, what works, what doesn't work. And so I look forward to your next product in the cloud, you know. Um, I think all the other software companies are in the same boat you're in, is the demand for cloud software is there, and but those companies that already have experience building software are the ones that I'm kind of eyeing for.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's exactly right. As we look at this software, it's feature rich, it's mature, as you call it, and this being the second version or generation, I guess you could call, of software that we've built. We learned something first round, and we're hoping the third round will, we've kind of learned from some of the sins of the past with this one, and also we've learned what works. And as we've been able to work very closely with our clients, close partnerships, really bringing a lot
So
of that.
Nathaniel, speaking to the features of the software, tell us about how sales orders originate. How are sales orders put in the system? What are the different ways a sales order can be created? Maybe show us the sales order screen and maybe your integrations with other platforms that pull sales orders into your system.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so right here, the easiest way, I'm just gonna open up our order screen. This here screen is going to be used for a lot. Anyone who uses our software is in this screen constantly. And this is the order, and it will then become the invoice as well. So this particular EBMS has one document for both sales and invoice. We could have come here from a proposal, an estimate, and created this from that. But up at the top, we have this customer ID. And so we can run through, if you want, a little scenario of somebody who's maybe walked up to the counter, the parts counter, and they need a part or they need a service. Uh, let's go
Sure,
through that.
sure. Yeah. Walk up to the parts counter and um, that's a good thing to envision. So that's one type of order entry that you accommodate. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Many
not
of
just
our
wholesale distribution, but also counter sales, point of sale type of transaction setup.
Exactly. So one of our largest markets, beside just distribution and so on, is this what we call the supply center, where they have this constant mix and engagement with both retail and with wholesale. And so they have the charge account, they have the retail account. And so we've built this screen really around that need where we're constantly invoicing, but we might also be taking that credit card payment right there as well.
Nice, nice. And would this develop a pick ticket for someone to go around back and say, hey, this wasn't in your storefront. Um, I paid for this. Here's my ticket. Will you go grab it for me? That sort of,
Sure, absolutely. So
okay.
there's all kinds of scenarios like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, it's a good one.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
Some of our customers have had that type of scenario. I'm familiar with that. Kind of your plumbing supply, your construction supply,
mhm.
your electric supply, these supply stores. Yeah.
Yeah, so electrical supply, we have clients in that space. Here I might, somebody's walked in and they want, 50 feet of some 5 gauge or some uh, cable of some kind. And here we get to select the role. We're doing lot tracking, we're doing serialization, we're tracking that, all those things as well. So let's say Jane Doe walked in. So lady walks in and we're going to set up, we want to track or set up an account for her. So I like IDs that are relevant of some kind. So I'm in the habit of creating IDs that are last name, 3 digits, first name, 3 digits. But we see here very quickly, it's a new client, new customer. It's not in the system. And there's ways to quickly go search, but I know for a fact this person is new. I have categorization all through the system that I can do, a hierarchy, a categorization, and there are defaults that are set here. So if I choose retail, she's going to be set up with, a retail setup. If I go into wholesale, I might have different price levels for each of these. I might have different, there's these defaults that we can set up that this account will automatically inherit as we configure it. So it can be very, very efficient. Okay, so Doe, Jane, and 321, any street. And she's we're going to ask her for her zip code, and we could capture her phone number. Additional information is needed, of course. And I've gone through these screens relatively quickly, and I asked it to actually bring up the customer screen. So this is where we can see all the information. And this is your first introduction to how various entities like customers, vendors, inventory, how we organize the information. And we have various tabs where we group the relevant information. This would be a landing spot to see all the transactions, all the history with Jane Doe. Maybe there's proposals out, maybe there's serialized products she's purchased or we've serviced for her. So there could be a vehicle, there could be a tractor, there could be a lawnmower, and we're going to have that service history there along with any tasks and that sort.
That's good to know. Your software also accommodates the service industry, like the vehicle repair, engine repair, equipment repair.
Yeah, so
Okay.
one of our biggest industries is equipment.
Really?
So
Okay.
if you think of short line ag, you think of construction, even rental. We have a rental module that's a part of this, and in a rental environment, now you're servicing your own product, and so we're managing service on that as it comes back in and needs to be prepared to go back out. So equipment, sales, service is a big part of the software.
Good to know. Good to know.
Okay, Jane Doe's here, and we can enter in. Let's say she's brought in well, let's just go. Say she's brought in a lawnmower. So, and she wants it serviced. I have two columns here, ordered and shipped. Ordered means this is what the customer is expecting, what the customer wants. We just haven't delivered it yet, haven't acted on it. So here I have my product codes. This is a service code, actually, engine service, and I'll put that in. And then I have here, we're going to sharpen some blades. And I'll just show our search screen. So coming into here, you see the categorization on the left-hand side, and we'll be exposed to that a little bit more later. But this is where we can group all our product codes, service codes, and so on. And there's defaults on all of these, pricing defaults that can be set. I'm going to choose all categories and do a find. I'm using Control F. I'm using keyboard shortcuts that are common within the Windows environment. So let's just type in blade, and here's a few blades, sharpen blades. And of course, I can use keyboard, I can use mouse, I can use touch, whatever is most helpful in the moment. So these are two services that are going to be accomplished. And I also know there's certain parts, certain things that she's going to need to purchase, certain products as well, or that are going to be involved in the service of this lawnmower. Most obvious is we're going to use a whole roll of duct tape, right? Or something. So this
You've
is
got to have duct tape to repair things. I don't know how you can
I'm
repair
thinking
anything without duct tape.
I think so. And again, sorry, demos are fun. So so I'm going to come in here and of course, Elmer's wood glue. There's got to be something we got to glue on this thing.
All right.
But
what about baling wire? We need baling wire. My dad always fixed things with baling wire and duct tape.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So now that we have this order entered, we're able to create what in EBMS is called a work order. And just simply by saving that, it's going to prompt us to create these tickets so that the folks in the back can now track their time, their labor, and get the work done. Now, there might have been something on here on the sales order that's going to trigger a manufacturing batch, something that needs to be manufactured. And in EBMS, we have numerous ways of approaching that. We have made to order, where you'd have a configurator that pops up, and it'll ask for the options that might be built into this whole good, and we can enter it here. It'll ask, and it'll create that manufacturing batch. So let's go look at that screen.
The manufacturing
And
screen.
this is our manufacturing screen. Some people
Okay.
call it this the work order, but this would be a manufacturing screen. And here's a simple list of batches. And you can see here that I have these finished goods listed, and below each finished good, I have the items consumed.
Okay.
Now, in EBMS, we can have a assembly and a subassembly of a subassembly. We can create this entire chain of assemblies. We can see the linking between those subassemblies to the finished good.
So we can see
And
a whole explosion of the bill of material or manufacturer order.
yeah, so there'd be a way through a business intelligence tool some clients use, like in our preference is Power BI. We kind of we're Microsoft
Mhm.
shop. We
Yeah.
like it. You could use anything, but you could build out a Sankey diagram is what some folks will use, and they'll configure it specific to their business. So you
Okay.
could see that. So this is and this screen and its capabilities, this is an area where EBMS shines as a platform because a lot of manufacturing shop floors are very different. And so this is what's managing my materials, my material costs. I may also have a labor cost associated and built into the value of this dirt shovel, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have multiple tasks associated to this. And if out on the shop floor, we have a kiosk workers can walk up to, they can clock into that task. It can record actual time and expense actual time against this manufacturing batch, building all of that value into this finished good. Now, you'll notice on the bottom line here, we have this manufacturing adjustment margin. And this allows us to set our fixed cost. We're saying this dirt shovel, we want the end result to be $21. And so there's an adjustment account where it'll adjust and make sure that cost is 21, no matter what the inputs are. And what I like to see is businesses who do manufacturing and are selling this, they might have different departments, a sales department, their manufacturing department, and now the margin that the manufacturing department manages between, say, it cost $16, input costs were actually $16. That difference, that $5, is that department's profit, and it actually gets sold for 28. That is another department's profit. So there's things like that when we talk about departments and divisions in the software that are tremendously powerful from a management perspective and cost reporting.
Okay. And so
Okay.
this is the term finished good, but that could also mean work in process too. It's not necessarily the product that you sell, but any level within production. What for some of your customers, what are the limitations? Are there any limitations? Is some of your, I guess, out of all of your customers, what are the most sub levels that you see people are using with your manufacturing levels?
Yeah, good question. So we have clients who are building like ag equipment, say some sort of anything from a manure spreader to a cultivator or whatever in
Okay.
here.
Okay.
So, they might have 5 or 6 levels and they have options. So they're building all of these components for that.
I imagine a manure spreader would take about, I don't know, depending on if they're doing their own machining or not, maybe 50 bombs and 7 levels, something like
Yeah,
that. Does that sound about right?
that sounds exactly right. And we have clients doing that. So that's a complex environment, very complex, and it's not trivial to manage. So some of the things we don't do in EBMS is we're not doing the whole capacity planning,
Okay.
resource, management rework. So we don't present ourselves as a full-fledged MRP,
Okay.
right? But many small businesses in this space are really benefiting from the tools here in cost reporting. And like I mentioned, the kiosk out on the shop floor and just managing what work's being done. You could do a Kanban approach where you're pulling and say, okay, we're going to shear now, we're going to bend now, we're going to, go to the break, we're going to do this.
So capacity planning usually relates to machinery or human resources where there's a capacity, a maximum capacity. Um, what about scheduling materials? That's not really capacity. That's more of what you talked about, MRP.
Mm-hmm.
You say you're not full-fledged MRP. What would you say you do that is in relation to MRP? Planning the materials to planning the bills, planning the work orders or the manufacturer orders to start in the time that the materials are available.
Yeah, good. So we do have some features along those lines where, because this is on this sales order with a start date, a batch date, or a start date actually of such and such a day, we can work backwards, and we, in our purchasing screen, we can load and say, okay, this product is needed here in another week, and our lead time on it is usually 5 days. We better order this thing. So there's some of that in the system where we can predict and get close to that just in time. Uh,
Does the system help the user decide what they need to manufacture, like what manufacturer orders they need to create?
yes. So the way we approach that is we set up a manufacturing vendor, if you will. And so when we do that, it triggers it's the process is incredibly fluid and similar to creating a purchase order, except
Okay.
in this
Yeah.
case, it's triggered to create a manufacturing batch.
Okay. And you use reorder points for that, so as well as forecasted demand or current demand.
Yes. So we have, and here we're looking at a product, and this screen is a little busy, but you can see that we have the minimum. This is our reorder point. We have reorder increments up to a certain maximum. So this one would trigger at 19 for us to go all the way up to 50, and it would create this batch, right, to produce this product, create 30 more of these essentially. And this is all based on what we call the net orders. So it's looking at what the demand is, what's out there, and also what's on the books, or sorry, what's on purchase orders coming in, and in that net, and says, hey, you need to think about manufacturing more.
And how does a user determine what their minimum and maximum numbers should be?
So there's one is this manual way right here, and in this demo, I don't have it, but we have an advanced forecasting, a few algorithms that'll look out. There's seasonal, where it'll predict seasonally month by month. That's as granular as we get, is at the month level. Or it'll look at trends up or down, and it'll even choose which one makes the most sense. And
There's
it'll
automation there,
there is
sophisticated automation. I'm glad I asked that question. It's powerful. I think those are the type of features people are looking for, right?
yes, especially in this small business space.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you see here the
So
multiple
we've
units
seen
of
the manufacturer order. We've talked about multi-level work orders and what type of customers you have, what they're using. Talked about the lack of capacity planning, but the existence of light MRP, but also some very powerful forecasting and reorder points, whatnot. So um, let's say we've got a manufacturer order in there. We've seen sales orders creation. manufacturer order creation. Can we look at purchasing?
Yeah, let's go to purchasing. So we have multiple locations. So I could purchase and view what's needed across all warehouses, or I can pick a specific location or warehouse. And in this purchasing screen, we're able to choose a certain vendor or lots of let's just show anything that's what we call track count. Only show stock inventory. That's anything with a minimum that reorder point that's greater than 0. Or in this case, only show product that needs to be ordered. This is great. So let's see what comes up when I do a search. And so these products might not be things we stock, but because they're on a sales order, they need to be ordered to fulfill that. Or if it's on a manufacturing batch or wherever it's set to be consumed or used or sold. And
Okay.
so
A
we get to,
manufacturing batch, a sales order, or a reorder point, right?
yep,
The min max level. Okay.
exactly. Good. So again, we're looking at the net ordered. The system's looking at the net ordered. I can see my on hand for a lot of these is negative. EBMS can sell things it doesn't have. So somebody walked in and it was on the shelf, but it hadn't been received yet, or you've got a process. There's a paper packing list sitting back there that hasn't been entered yet. You could actually sell it.
Okay.
I can manage my reorder points here, my minimums and maximums, all that, we can view and edit right there. Once I have that set, I can just ask the system, what do you think I should order? The amount. And then, of course, you can manage that. And from here, then create that purchase order or multiple purchase orders, either from a singular vendor or, as we see here, primary vendor. There's multiples. We could create multiple purchase orders.
So questions about this area. A couple of questions that come to mind are units of measure and vendors. Since you mentioned vendors, I want to ask that question first. But I see on this screen, it says primary vendor. It looks like you can change the vendor right here on the fly in this recommendation area. Am I right about that, or is that in a different area?
That's in a different area. So okay. We have our primary, our preferred supplier, if you will. But then we can also on the item list others, list their part number, and list the unit of measure that we purchased that from.
Nice. That's was my next question is the unit of measure. Can you purchase in bulk, store in another unit of measure, consume on a manufacturer in another unit of measure, and sell in another unit of measure? I see you nodding your head, so I take that as a yes.
Yeah, that's right. So we identify the main stocking unit, right, of whether that's an each, whatever you're most naturally going to go out and count. But then you can buy it, sell it, manufacture it in any other unit of measure you set
up. Nice. So from here, is there like an acceptance button to say, okay, I accept your recommendation, Mr. Software. Let's create. There we go. And we can manufacture.
Yeah, so there's multiple scenarios.
Nice. Okay. Manufacturer,
so the system's gonna
order.
So we have a lot of clients who will have a main warehouse, right? They're at the satellite, and so they're managing it. And so instead of purchasing it, they're initiating that warehouse transfer, a purchase from the main.
Nice. Okay. So I think we want to purchase these. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what do we want to do?
Let's just create a purchase order for a few of these. And I know this is just one vendor, but we'll go in here and let's create that order. And we will, we're going to use just the primary vendor in this case, create one purchase order. It's asking me if I want to add it to an existing one that's already existing. that's sitting out there. In this case, I don't. I want to do a new one because this one's already been ordered.
Now you just kind of quickly for demo sakes typed in 1 and 1 for the order quantity, but I think this recommended a certain quantity, right, in another column.
It did. Yeah, I wiped it out and just put in one for this year.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah, we don't want to print. Okay. And okay, so we're asked if we want to view what was created, and we can come in here and we will see this is our purchase order screen. So a simple list of the products that are going to be ordered.
Nice. Okay.
One other area of the software that's incredibly powerful is we'll see this linked column, and we have a feature we call purchase methods on a manufacturing batch, on a sales order. We can initiate right from there the creation of a purchase order or another manufacturing batch or a warehouse transfer, and we'll actually see that linking there, so we can very quickly navigate to that document that it's associated with.
Nice. Nice. All right. So we've created a sales order, we've created a manufacturer order, we've created a purchase order. How about we fulfill the purchase order? Do you have a receiving screen or a WMS screen of some sort? But what do you have for WMS? Do you have barcode scanning or mobile warehouse management?
Yeah, so we do have a mobile app that will allow you to receive product as it comes in, scanning it, and it'll fulfill. Of course, here we could just simply mark received on this purchase order. However, we do have a receiving screen, and we're able to select that purchase order and receive here in this dialog as well. Receiving on multiple POs at the same time if we wish. And this can also be done with that mobile app as you mentioned earlier.
Right. Yeah, sometimes those mobile apps are difficult to show in these demo videos. You have to have a special tool like BlueStacks or something, an emulator of some sort
Right, I
to
did.
show them. But you know, the mobile device, I think is so important, and I'm sad to see so many people buy a mobile device and then they never get it set up, they never use it, and I think it's such a critical part of an inventory management tool because real-time tracking is what maintains accurate inventory. Putting a packing slip on someone's desk to be recorded later
Mhm.
is not real-time tracking. That creates latency. That creates the type of scenario that you actually just described, where they had to sell into the negative and then go find out
Right.
why it wasn't in the system, you know? Um, so that's good to know that you have mobile receiving capability.
We do.
So right now we're looking at the screen on the desktop, and I would encourage anyone that is going this route to at least have the computer in the shipping and receiving area.
Yes, at a minimum.
Still
And
try to avoid giving that packing slip to someone in the office.
yeah.
The person that receives should be the person that records. Anytime I've worked with companies that do it different, they've had problems.
Yeah. Deal with it as soon as it hits the dock. I know it's hard to do, but that's the ultimate win. And in this case, not only are we receiving it, but this line is fuchsia. It's this bright pink color. And that's indicating to us that there are sales orders out there. There's documents out there that they're waiting on this thing. And so
Back order management. That's awesome.
yes,
Yeah.
I can quickly come in here. Oh, Jane Doe wants that roll of duct tape and she doesn't have it. So now I'm going to grab it and put it over on the staging shelf or wherever for
Let's
her.
not waste our time putting it back in stock and then letting someone else pick it out of stock. We can just bring it straight to the fulfillment table.
Okay. Yeah.
Love
Mm-hmm.
it. So, what about recording the vendor's invoice and reconciling against the cost and landing the cost? That can happen before or after. Maybe talk a little bit about prepaid inventory if it seems like that's becoming more common these days. People want their money sooner or up front. The days of 30-day terms and 60-day terms and 90-day terms, I think, are becoming less and less common.
Yeah, so we've got the invoice in front of us. Here's this purchase invoice, purchase order again. I'm going to be using this same document, putting that invoice number in here, and checking my price, adjusting my price. Landed costs. We do have a landed cost feature. I don't have it in this demo prepared for us today, Lance, but
Not a
you can.
problem. As long as we know you have it, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, so we can default those costs per product. They'll increase the value of it through those landed costs. So that's all managed here. And then it's a matter of processing or turning this into an invoice. I could print a check directly from here, or of course, then I got terms. So it's sitting to be paid in vendor payments. So one area that you mentioned is the what we call down payments, right? So
Sure. Yeah.
uh,
Prepayment, down payment. Yeah.
and you're just to be clear, are you referencing that in relation to this year, the purchasing side,
Yes.
or on the sales side?
Yes, I,
On
I understand there's prepaid inventory from customers, but since we're on the receiving and purchasing area, I am referring to um, paying the vendor, paying your supplier in
yeah, before.
advance.
Yeah. So down here, it's the hotkey Control D, is, and we are, amount to pay, go through, create a check, whatever your payment method is, and get that down. So if they whatever percentage they want, you can initiate that, and it will be applied to this particular document.
Cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. And then I assume that that connects to your payables report. That's the beauty of this being an ERP and having your accounting system all in one is something that I call retroactive landed cost might be more possible in your environment, which is a little more rare in just the strictly IMS environment, where if you've already consumed the part or sold it and shipped it out, can we still land the cost?
Yeah. So what we've done on the back end is really focused on the cost accounting of this, and so I can make those changes, and the cost of goods sold will actually follow through to wherever that, the sales order, the manufacturing batch, wherever it may be, and it can make those adjustments.
That's perfect. Yeah. And totally skip the debit of inventory and credit of inventory and just go straight
Right.
to the debit of COGS and updating the actual COGS and the credit of COGS and whatnot. So yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. I've seen other software programs handle it that way, and I think that's a great way to handle it. So now that we have it in the inventory, we can fulfill manufacturer orders, we can close manufacturer orders, we can close sales orders. And when I think of closing work orders and sales orders, the first thing I think about is picking, right?
Mhm.
That's where it all starts, right? That's where inventory accuracy, another key point of inventory accuracy is picking. Receiving is the first part,
Yeah.
picking is the next control point. Can we see picking of sales orders, picking of manufacturer orders?
Yeah, so on the sales order, I have this simple order management screen, batch processing screen. We create
Let's
these queries.
sorry to
I can
interrupt.
lift.
Let's start with manufacturing. Can we look at manufacturing? I think we've got to manufacture it before we ship it out. And I know I sort of mentioned
Okay.
sales and manufacturing, but just just for my mentality's sake, can we pick a manufacturer order?
Yeah. So let's look at that. Let's look at a manufacturing batch, and we're gonna complete this manufacturing batch. Let's go into working on this dirt shovel, these two dirt shovels here. No, we're not. Let's find another one. We actually hadn't started one.
We've got completed, pending, scheduled, completed, pending, completed.
Yeah, there's a
These
pending
different
one.
statuses.
Yeah, maybe we should have just created one. Okay, there's a go. Let me go out of it, come back in. Okay, let's look at this manufacturing batch here. We're gonna work on it and complete it. And there's multiple ways to manage the consumed item. So in discrete manufacturing, you need every bolt, every nut, and all of that. And so some clients will manage it at the item's consumed level. And once it reaches that minimum number of products that are needed to create this whole good, this will can automatically get set to one was manufactured, right? Or I can drive it the other way, and I can just simply say, hey, I manufactured one of these, and it's going to go down through and consume each of these. And I can turn on and off columns, and you can see here my consumed column is fully populated. So once I've done that, what I again go up here and I will process it. It's going to remove from inventory the wooden handle, the rake head, whatever else there. That gets pulled out of inventory, and now the asset value is all around the garden rake and that unit.
And I assume labor or overhead would be an item to consume as well.
It is, yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So then a manufacturer journal entry would be created at that point.
That's correct. So all that cost accounting, all of that's happened on the back end, and your labor, it's being built into the value of that unit and so on.
Consuming direct labor or absorbing direct labor.
Absorbing direct labor, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, sorry to interrupt and look at manufacturing first. Let's go ahead. Let's go to sales order. So picking of a sales order.
Yeah, so you could go open it up individually. If somebody's walked in and said, "Hey, I'm ready to pick it up," we could bring that up. We could scan the sales order and bring it up on the screen. There's things like that. But if we're doing a more holistic management of orders, I might come in here and build a query and say, I want to have a list of all the sales orders that need to ship today with a ship date of today. Or maybe there's that all the sales orders for which we have all the products on hand and available for this. And so I can create these various queries, there's various buckets. And now I can go through, I could create printout pick lists for all of these as a batch. I can process one, I can actually invoice all of these, and this is our CRM side, but we can email these invoices out then to everyone. We can, label them, ship them, print out shipping labels and stick on from the software. We have integrations like that. So with the pick, if I just go in and manually, and we can do this with our mobile scanner app as well. So it looks like I'm just going to view this invoice. And I open one up that's already marked as shipped, but that's essentially the action you're doing, is you're saying this is the amount that there's one of these ordered, and we're going to ship one of these, and it's in the customer's hands now. This customer has 15-day terms, and so I'm going to hit the charge button, and I might have printed out a shipping label, put it on the product, shipping it to the customer. They might have picked it up. I can
Now,
get
are you
them
doing
to,
this because the software said you can't ship it until it's paid?
um, in this case, the software, this customer has net 15-day terms, but other customers don't. And so it's not going to allow you to actually invoice this until you have the payment in hand. So here we have a sample invoice, balance due of $19, and we're going to send that along with the person who came to pick it up, and also email it to them. So let's look at another invoice, and in a retail environment, this customer is going to have to pay by check or credit card, and we will ship this very inexpensive skid loader. And we can take a credit card payment, or we can take a check. And of course, we have all that deposit management, bank account management as well. We can trigger the sending of an email from here if we wish to this individual. And it's out the door, and all the transactions have happened on the back end.
Now, we were looking at picking. Do you have pick tickets? Does your mobile device have picking capability?
Yes, the mobile device has picking capability, or we could come into that sales order screen where we were in before, and we could print out a pick, or from this screen, print out a whole bunch of pick tickets as well.
Yeah, can we see that? Printing out a bunch of pick tickets? And how does the warehouse manager decide what needs to be picked?
Yeah. So the warehouse manager is going to decide based on queries they set up here. And there's quite a bit of flexibility in how you build these queries. You essentially create different buckets, right? So it might even depend on the type of product that's on a sales order. You might want to handle it differently. And so you create these buckets, create these queries of the sales orders. In that query, we could say, sales orders where everything is available. And we have it on hand.
But I
So
might be asking the wrong question, because I remember previously you said primarily your software works well with part stores, where
there's a lot.
yeah. So I'm thinking more along the lines of wholesale distribution, right? But Koble is mainly designed for part stores.
Well, so and I put the pick sheet in here now. So I'm just going to select a couple of these.
Okay.
I'm going to choose. I can print a pick sheet. We have a pick sheet here, and I can have this automatically without this pop up, just automatically going to there was nothing on that document. Okay. So we can generate these pick sheets, and these can be going out to a printer out in the warehouse if you want, or of course you can use the EBMS screen like we see here and pick from it, opening up and scanning into the actual sales order as saying it's shipped and boxed, and print out a shipping label if you wish right from there, or use the mobile scanner for much of this.
Awesome. And I wonder if you do delivery, like direct to the contractor delivery. Um, Obviously, you do walk-ins and pickups. Do you do any sort of shipping or delivery, which is a little bit different? Delivery is a little bit different than shipping. Can
Yeah,
you
so
touch on that?
yeah, so we do have clients that will go out and they'll actually send their employees out to do the delivery. One of the interesting challenges there that folks face is sometimes taxes, right? That varies from state to state. And when it's my employee giving it to someone else, now um, I need to know where they've gone to because my taxes change based on that, the tax I need to charge. So we handle that environment as well. And what we do is often set our shipping method on the sales order to be the individual that's going out and actually making that delivery. And we have an option for ship via, and that will also, if indicates what the taxation should be like. Now I can create this list, query based on this, going back to the other screen we were at where we have the queries and the list of everything that needs to be delivered. I can quickly see that. We have reporting around that, what's scheduled for delivery today by this person. We do not have route optimization features built into this. There's lots of good software out there that does that.
Do
There's
you
ways to
integrate with route optimization software?
We can because we have
Okay,
a RESTful API, we have webhooks, the triggers, all of those capabilities. So it's really a matter of you choosing the route optimization software of your choice. There's some good ones out there.
awesome. Well, Nathaniel, thank you so much. I think we've gone through the whole flow, the sales order creation, manufacturer order creation, purchase order fulfillment, manufacturer order fulfillment, sales order fulfillment. Could you show us reports a little bit? I think that's probably the last thing we could see. I know the other features in the software like configuration settings and features for helping with implementation with Excel spreadsheet imports and exports. I think we can skip those features for the purpose of this demo, but I think it'd be good to look at reports. And this is one area that I think mature software really shines, is you've had plenty of years to build a lot of reports.
Yeah, so there are hundreds of reports that come baked in with the software. We use a product called Crystal Reports on the back end for the um, the report writer generation. And so because we're focusing on inventory, we'll end up looking at a few of these together, but just to give you a sampling of some of what's in here um, around just counts and values, cost, prices, manufacturing, sales, purchases. There's many reports that can be run. So one the clients really like inventory aging, very important report, right? What's been on the shelf for a long time. And there's our configuration screen, prompt screen, and we can see that, see what's aging out, how long it's been on the shelf. And we have turnover uh, reports as well. There's a number of inventory management reports that we've built into the software. This is the core. This is what's in the software, but then we also help clients use, as I referenced earlier, business intelligence tools like Power BI to build very specific dashboards. That can be really helpful.
Nice. Yeah, Power BI and Crystal Reports are probably the two most popular report writing tools. So those are good options. I'm glad you guys chose those for your platform. So
Yeah, we've
Nathaniel, thank you. I think at this point, for listeners who are still with us, these are serious people that have watched this entire video. For those that are still with us, I would think you're probably thinking about pricing and implementation and what kind of implementation support there is. Now, I think it's taboo to talk about pricing, unfortunately. So if you're listening in, you want to hear about pricing, I think it's probably best you reach out to me or Nathan. Um, but implementation and support, I think, are big things, right? What can you tell us? You bragged at the very beginning, 93% implementation success rate. Can you speak to us a little bit about your implementation services, your tech support?
Yeah. So, first of all, if you're interested, we're going to sit down, we're going to go through this discovery process and really evaluate whether we believe it's a fit. You know your business, we know the software. It's a collaborative process. Very early on, we bring in our implementation team as a part of that. And they're going to build out a plan, an implementation plan. What's the scope? What's priority? What do we do first? What's phase one? Often that's replacing your current processes, right? Phase two is really then building out, leveraging what this platform can bring to your business. So it's a collaborative process all the way through. There's important aspects we consider around people, right? Change management is a real thing, and we recognize that this is not trivial. There's a lot that's in play here. So we really try to partner with you and as we go through this process.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd be surprised how many small software vendors are like a deer in the headlights when we talk about implementation. And that's what we do here at Brando Consulting is implementation. And I think too many software vendors just talk about training or onboarding.
Mm,
But implementation is so much more than just training and onboarding. Like you mentioned, change management. We call it workflow management or deciding on workflow and processes and procedures. I
mm,
think it's really important to decide the best way to use the software um, while you're being trained. We usually train the trainer. We do a lot of implementation guidance too, so you could work with us and the people at Koble to assure a successful implementation.
absolutely.
And you know, it's good to work with a software expert and a business workflow expert. Um, but I think that's a great place to end it there. Thank you for listening and staying with us through this entire demo. And if you're at this point, I think it's time to give me a call or give Nathan a call. You can go to our website, click on our contact form, or go to Coble's website, click on their contact form. If you're just sure Coble's right for you, feel free to reach out to Coble. If you're unsure and you want to complete a selection service, that's what we do here at Brando Consulting. We help you assess Coble or assess Coble's competitors to decide which one is right for you. We'll see you next video.